RTD Live Talk, Detroit's #1 late night YouTube talk show. We are live for a Monday night live stream. Excited to be back. And of course, a lot of things worth talking about. Curious to get your thoughts on some of the articles I have here, as well as whatever else I may not have been able to cover. We're definitely going to talk about tonight. And so, as always, want to welcome everybody back. Hope everyone had a good weekend amongst all the other things going on out here these days. And as always, any new viewers, let me know where you're watching from. Would love to acknowledge your presence and welcome you to the community. And so let me check in via chat, and then I'll pull up a couple articles here, and then we'll touch on them, share our 2 cents on them, and then keep it moving right along. So let me see. We got Jay. We got Goat. Okay. We got Rolf. Okay. Got a couple thoughts there. We got Mello. We got Solo. All right. So a couple people tuning in. Ebony Eyes, John the 10th man. We got Patrick. All right. Says Mellow Bishop. Okay. What else we got out there? Any viewers from overseas? I'm curious to hear from the community members that might be outside the United States, and would like to hear about their circumstances wherever they might be located at. So feel free to let us know if we have anybody out there. We got Debt and Regret. We got Bobcat. Daryl. Okay. We got Tennessee Reform Association. Looks like $half was right. They don't count the votes they select. Yeah, man. So I couldn't help myself with the artwork tonight. I wanted to be creative, but everything was kind of put together last minute. But you kind of get the idea of what I'm talking about. And so for the last 3.5, almost going on 4 years, the drain the swamp concept, or the deep state, and all those things that were put out there got a lot of people excited, and gave them hope. And that's one of the things I always talked about, where I personally believe that we were always being sold this optimistic viewpoint on making America great again. But once again, as the clock ticks closer towards the end of this year and heading into January 20th, when that transition rolls over, a lot of people, and that's the thing, so the reason I want to touch on this tonight, because majority of the people here are of the mindset that this is all one big hocus pocus charade. They're both from the same team. I can understand that. I can dig you on that. But there's still a good amount of people out there that really believes that there's a plan in place right now. I was over the weekend, and I'm actually reaching out to a couple people now to get them on the show for an interview, because they are trying to lay out their case as to why, everything is right in place, trusted plans, all that stuff. And I'm thinking I'm not sure how people could be so optimistic and confident that, Trump's really operating on behalf of America, nevertheless, alleviating all our issues that plague the entire system, just the evil inside the system. But yet there might be people out there who disagree with that. So I want to definitely hear from you guys tonight as well. So my job is just to lay all the stuff out and let the community speak on it. So that's one thing I'm going to look forward to tonight. And let me see here. I saw something about Australia. Let me see here. Somebody from Australia. Okay, Debt and Regret, Australia. Okay, so speaking of which, I'm going to jump right on this right now, because Debt and Regret, came across this. Let me find this right here. And I got more than enough articles to touch on, but let me pull out this one that really caught me. Yeah, I'm not surprised, but it's one of those things where, a lot of people here in America may not believe this until you actually hear it, because if it happens in other countries, more than likely it'll be happening here as well. And so let me pull this article up right here, and it's actually a tweet, and it's trending right now. And I knew nothing about this particular airlines, it looked like, but we have a current affair. So I guess that's Qantas CEO. And so assuming that's an airlines in Australia. Let me know if I'm right or wrong. But it says, here's a little 30-second clip here. And during this interview, the young lady that's interviewing the CEO here basically just throws out the fact that, as a part of controlling international travel, is it likely that people will have to have the vaccination? He's like, oh, yeah, most definitely. And so it says, Qantas CEO confirms that proof that you've been vaccinated for the current situation will be compulsory for international travel on board this aircraft. So it looks like one airlines has already jumped on board, and once one makes that call, the rest will follow. So I thought this was something worth bringing to your attention, because we all anticipated this, but definitely heading into 2021, things like this will be rolled out. So but that's what it is, man. So let's move right along. Okay, so I love my country. Elections will be blatantly rigged from here and forever. So once again, okay, just just to try to, okay, I got the the tinfoil hat here, and so when I put this tinfoil hat on, I can typically go far left field and talk some really crazy things. But I think I mentioned this a few weeks ago how if everything rolls into this next administration as planned, this will be our last election. The way that it has been done to this point, because I don't have the article in front of me, but I saw there's already states out there that are looking to do away with the electoral college mechanism. And once that's gone, no doubt they're going to infringe on the popular vote aspect as far as the illusion that we actually go somewhere and vote, because we all see this Dominion software is one big charade in the most part, but it doesn't matter because it will not be reported by mainstream media. And it looks like every corporation from the top to the bottom is in on making sure that that type of stuff does not actually get investigated. So, so it's my personal opinion that this current election now will be the last of its kind. And between now and that time frame, those that are trying to orchestrate this new world order, they're going to do a lot of things that we couldn't even imagine occurring, I would assume. All right, let's keep it moving. It says, Solo said, Mike, Biden's team reminds me of when an NFL coach and his assistant gets fired. They all just get rehired elsewhere. Yeah, so, with the artwork, of, John Kerry and Janet Yellen. And I mean, if there is an epitome of what would be classified as, the swamp or deep state or people who are part of the system from day one, who are put in place to help keep the game rigged against humanity, period, are just being recycled. Just the fact that Biden is bringing in all these lifetime politicians. And of course, Janet Yellen, she was just a continuation of Bernanke, which was doing whatever it takes, according to the Federal Reserve game plan to keep this system afloat. So as a Treasury Secretary, I'd imagine she's going to be very cooperative with the Fed, because think about this, that is a major conflict of interest. You go from the banking world to the Federal Reserve as a chairwoman, and then you take a couple years off, and then you have the potential chance of now being the overseer of a country's financial balance sheet. You know what I'm saying? That right there should not be tolerated, but it seems like anything goes. So, but it is what it is, man. So let's dive right into this. How can the U.S. do this? They seem to be getting away with everything they want right now, because it is beyond blatant as to what they're trying to do, man. Like, even if President Trump was out there trying to actually put together a case to show all the fraud and stuff like that, by him, I guess, announcing yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, that Sidney Powell is not an official member of the Trump team and stuff like that. I'm thinking like she's out here tweeting up a storm, basically talking about bringing down the Kraken and exposing all of this stuff, but they disassociated themselves with her. Like, so it's like, okay, so I'm sure that put a wrinkle in a lot of those people that are trusting the process and trusting the plan. But it is what it is. Philman says, which constitutional amendments will they get rid of as we transition to the new system? Philman, great question. My personal opinion on this whole matter is that they're going to find some way to alleviate or to dismantle it bit by bit. And the very first one will probably be, the freedom of speech, which is obviously right now with big tech controlling everything we do. Between Facebook, let me put up another ad right here. So here's another little tidbit I thought I would share. Let me see if I can find this here. Where is this at? Let me see if I can get this one, because this is, once again, also things that we should be concerned about. Let me see. Do I have it? I don't seem to have it, but it was an article that talks about how, man, we got to find that one. That was a good one. It was an article basically mentioning that Facebook, Google, and Twitter, they've joined forces this upcoming. Let me see if I can find this article. Let me shoot. Let me see if I can find this article. It was a good one. They're joining forces to control the narrative for the vaccination process. Here we go. So here's an article here that, so if this right here isn't just flat out wrong, because this right here, Facebook, Google, and Twitter brace for this vaccine, just misinformation, and they're like joining UK, and they're formulating like an actual governmental body type of situation. So it says, under a new partnership, the social media platforms will work with researchers and government agencies in the UK and Canada to create a framework for responding to anti-V's misinformation during this pandemic. So right now, our free speech, unfortunately, has been siphoned into these major platforms here, to where outside of just speaking to someone on the phone or speaking to someone face to face, we have no real way of trying to get out a message to really warn people. So we've basically, by us allowing ourselves to sign up to these free platforms, we've given them our lives primarily with our photos and videos. And when it's time for us to share our 2 cents on matters, they're just going to simply axe all that off. And so they're formulating groups to make sure they censor everything. And so that's not surprising, but it's alarming, because they are ultimately dictating, as always, what they want to be told. So a lot of people out there, they call it misinformation. I call that 100% fake news, but yet they won't do anything about it. Debt and Regret, I appreciate the love offer. My friend says, do you think gold and silver could take a massive dive in the coming weeks, end of the bull run? Debt and Regret, at this current point, anything is possible. I would not say that it could not. And especially after today, I put a little tweet out there today about today's market activity, just because all the delivery and contracts, all that stuff is, coming towards the end of the month. So it's a lot of manipulation clearly out there. So just this morning with I think it was over $1 or something like that, almost dip in silver, lets me know that as long as the paper game is still intact, anything's possible. So I would not be surprised if there is a dip. But it's one of those things where, depending on where you're trying to source your metals from, you may or may not be able to get it, $1 or $2 cheaper, given the fact that the premiums might actually still remain up there to where it won't really benefit as much, because bullion dealers or whatnot might add an extra $1 or $2 on to make up for those losses. So what else we got going on? So let's keep moving, man. So I got a couple more articles, and I'm gonna open up the phone lines. We're gonna get into some more chit chat. Tony B says silver and minus 60% on expiration day. Yeah, but see that 60%. Yeah, it'll save you 60% if you're going in there trying to get your ounce. But yeah, that's not the type of dip I think he's referring to. But we will see. Tracking and tracing us into submission, no doubt. Okay, let me get into some articles here. So I want to just touch on. I'm gonna skim through these things as fast as I can, and then open the phone lines so I don't rant the rest of the night. And so here's a question. How exactly does John Kerry, what type of what type of background or experience does John Kerry have when it comes to climate change, weather, or anything like that, to be tabbed the climate czar? Anybody out there got any idea as to how this could be, other than just trying to continue to reinstate those that are part of the system from the jump, to really escalate this new world agenda, this build back better aspect? But here's a little tweet from Kerry earlier. It says, America will soon have a government that treats the climate crisis as an urgent national security threat that it is. I'm proud to partner with President-elect, our allies, and the young leaders of the climate movement to take on this crisis. So once again, the Green Deal, that's going to be about $100 trillion or something like that at the end of the day. So anybody out there have any idea as to how John Kerry gets tabbed the climate czar? But it is what it is, man. Biden named John Kerry as climate czar. Biden yet to successfully spell czar. Very good point. John Kerry, skull and bones, just like Steve Mnuchin. No, hey, and here's the thing, man. Like, it's only a small amount of people that actually even are aware of those type of things. Whether or not John Kerry and Steve Mnuchin actually are or not, I don't know. But my first guess would be that they are, because they're part of this whole orchestrated game that they've set up against humanity. So Yeah. Okay. Keep it moving. All right. Here is another one. As I mentioned before, Janet Yellen. Janet Yellen's back on the block. And so Biden chooses her for Treasury Secretary. And outside of her, the conflict of interest of her going from the banking world prior to the Fed, from the Fed to this for the Treasury, unfortunately, it all depends on how the House and the Senate play out. But she might get passed through no problem. She might not. But my guess would be she's going to be in there. And so once again, what can we expect? More of the same, and probably a ramp up of all those social programs. Like she's going to be the one out there advocating for universal basic allowance. What else out there? Student debt forgiveness, national. They're going to have to. Okay, so here's an article I'm going to touch on, because as a result of everything starting to come to a halt, there's going to be some chaos brewing in less than 45 days. And so outside of course, this past weekend where we had Steve Mnuchin, call himself axing or putting an end to 8 of the key 13 emergency programs. Here we got a list of all the funds, to who they actually went to. We don't know, but just say the too big to fail banks. But when you go down further, it says, according to the latest data, there are currently over 21 million unemployed workers receiving UI benefits, of which 13.6 million are enrolled in the PUA and PUA. They are shown the red and green light. And so at the end of the month, these things come to an end. But what was most telling is that it says that according to a survey run by the Urban Institute, 1/3 of landlords report not being paid rent in full in September. So last month. It says these implies that roughly 30 million renters households will be at risk of eviction once the moratorium expires at the end of this year. So outside of an increase in homelessness, as well as landlords that's going to be shafted on pay, I could see Janet Yellen and Biden and Harris coming up. Possibly they can speed up those incentives of beginning the rollout of the programs where, if you want to have your, rent back rent paid, you got to sign for this program here. Once you show proof that you've been vaccinated, yada, yada, yada. And then here's another one here. It says latest household survey from the Census Bureau shows that close to 30% of renters and roughly 12% of homeowners with mortgages have slight to no confidence that they will be able to make next month's payment. So, yeah, it's very, very, very dark and grim for those that have been impacted severely, but yet we all know that this is a part of the plan. What better way to usher in a whole new paradigm other than to shake people out of their old paradigms, which is the comfort levels and the security that we were all taught to believe in and to work towards when it comes to obtaining what was labeled as the American dream that was sold to my grandparents. It wasn't sold to me, but yet I kind of bought into it in a sense until I began questioning some things and decided to not solely go down that pathway of trying to do all the typical things, set aside and all those financial products and wait till I get old and gray and retire and find out that they reneged on the promises. Yeah. Okay. Let's keep it moving. A couple more articles here and then I'm open to phone lines and we can talk further. But for those that came late, I talked about how one airlines in Australia, it looks like Oceans Airlines. I'm not familiar with them, but the CEO basically announced that in order to get on his planes to fly international, you'll have to have a vaccination paperwork for sure. And so that's one airline thus far that I'm aware of, and I'm sure there'll be more to come. So if there's any interest to get your trips in, might want to get them in right now. Okay, next one here. So here's something that they caught me by surprise. But as I mentioned before, this is a tweet from Trump earlier, basically not conceding, but yet giving heads up for Emily Murphy, the GSA person that's responsible for providing the transition funds for the Biden team or whatnot. And apart from it being 2 or 3 weeks late now, he decided to go ahead and give it approval. And so he, is this his way of giving up? I'm curious to find out what you guys think. Is he giving up without officially announcing it, or because he also tweets here that he's still fighting and still trying to do this? But my personal opinion all along was just he's stalling. He's stalling to kind of give those people that support him and the people that have basically allowed him to get to this position as president to continue to give them some type of hope and confidence or something like that. But so here's a little tweet that he put out earlier about basically following protocols. He's telling all his team to do what's needed to I guess, make transition smoother amongst his fight. So yeah, this is it's very, very entertaining, I must admit. And then, of course, I found this over the weekend. It was very funny that it looks like all the social media platforms Trump is on officially on January 21st or whatnot or January 20th will remove all of President Trump's handles of POTUS, FLOTUS, VPS. All those handles will be removed, regardless of everything. Regardless of, even if everything pans out to, because as of now, I don't think, the president's race is over with. Somebody let me know if I'm wrong, but I don't think the electoral votes are actually officially done. But yeah, man, more stuff. Then here's something I thought was interesting because we were not moving forward starting in January 2021. Mark my words. Mainstream media will not be allowed to provide any type of lingo that questions the further agenda of making sure everybody goes out, runs out, and be first one in line to get vaccinated. So I thought this was entertaining because I'm thinking like, whoa, that just caught me by surprise. It says doctors say CDC should warn people the side effects from this current situation. Shots won't be a walk in the park. And so one of the concerns here is that people are not aware of the fact that some of the symptoms or side effects after the first one, because both Moderna and Pfizer both have 2 doses, I think 21 days apart. And then we got the AstraZeneca today came out with one. And of course, the initial numbers for its effectiveness was like 90%. And then I saw something talk about that won't cut it in the USA or something like that. So by next week or end of this week, they're gonna ramp that up to 94.3% because they can do that because they control the media. But basically, what this is talking about is how people don't know that you're gonna, you run the risk outside of health complications or whatever else. Once again, this is a bioweapon. This is experimental technology. So nobody really knows what lies ahead. But we can only suspect that it's going to be not comfortable for a good portion. But it says both companies acknowledge that their vaccines could induce side effects that are similar to the symptoms associated with the COVID, such as muscle pain, chills, headache. And then also, how over the weekend, especially, I was watching, some TV here and there, and it was a lot of vaccine commercials for all types of things came on. I'm thinking like, who, obviously people actually take those things like that. But one thing that caught me by surprise is at the end of all those commercials, they always say the results not typical, may cause diarrhea, heartache, heart attack, stroke, cancer, high blood pressure, even death. I'm thinking like, well, damn, like that's a lot of risk to take on for the alleviation of one thing, but it's going to brew up something else. I wonder, and more than likely won't happen, but I'd imagine that we won't hear anything like that. There will be not a single commercial with none of these upcoming COVID vaccines that give you those type of warnings, because even if people heard them, most likely it's been so much fear pumped into the system, people probably would still take them. But it'd be nice to be able to be told the truth, but yet we know the truth would definitely not make people go get that shot. Anyway, so yeah, let's keep moving, man. So I got a couple more articles here, then I'm dialed back. So here's something that my crypto people might like or recognize. And so here's something that I meant to do a video a while back, but I didn't get a chance to do it. But we're not the only country. I preface this with saying that depending on how the new year rolls in, there's a chance that there's going to be a division in the country. It's going to be the Trump supporters and those that are diehard fans and believe that he's really out to do what he set out to do. And then you have those that are anti-Trump and just want everything to go back to normal as far as just them being lied to and everything just, basically being led the way that it always has been. And so that we run the risk. And so this could be a great test of the true nature of this left-right paradigm tug of war they're trying to have us between, pro-Trump and anti-Trump supporters out there. But come January, after January, there's going to be a good chunk of the population that does not abide by Biden's victory. They're going to still to the very death of them, unfortunately, might say that the election was stolen, it was a rigged, and he's not my president. So even in this little thing here that I showed you guys on screen, the very first person, 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago, says he's basically Biden is not my president, and it has 20 retweets, 462 likes. So there's a lot of people probably in this thread that probably feel the same way, saying that Biden's not my president, and so they're not going to give up easily. So therefore, Trump is still going to have a major following. So if Trump was really, really, really about disrupting and shaking things up from a Make America Great standpoint and didn't want to give up the fight, even though he's ushered out and booted out and all his titles are removed, he's still going to have a large following. So I wouldn't be surprised if for some reason there becomes a two political type entities, Trump and Biden, where we have Trump on one side still influential in a sense where people will obey him and he have a nice following and people migrate towards that, and it becomes problematic on the Biden campaign being able to reinstate all the deep state policies and undo everything that was done. So long story short, there could be a Biden and Trump campaign even into 2021, which could be very problematic, but could be a part of the design. But reason I mention that is because not many people know right now that in Venezuela, there's two presidents. There's the deep state chosen one, which is Juan Guaido, and then there's the democratically elected, Maduro, that's still in power now. So as of right now, within the country of Venezuela, there are two official presidents there. One is being protected by the U.S. and the deep state and the swamp and all those creatures that ushered in this character out of the crowd. He used to be a protester, but now he's chosen by the world. The world acknowledged him as the true vice president. So true president. So as a way of, going around sanctions, Juan Guaido has not been able to secure Venezuela's gold in the UK, and as well as have access to the actual governmental funds. So look at this. Circle partners with Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela and Artem to deliver aid to Venezuelans using a USDC. So using a stable coin from Coinbase, which has the former, one of the new treasury hirees was one of the workers at Coinbase. So basically Coinbase is supporting Juan Guaido by providing funds. So they're now looking to implement an entire financial system into Venezuela to fund Juan Guaido as the deep state chosen president, and then also set up a payment structure where the citizens can get aid and so whatever. So basically the reason I wanted to point this out is because Venezuela has two presidents. It has one chosen by the deep state and one that was supposedly chosen by the people, and it's continuing on. The same thing on a worst case scenario, far left field, conspiratorial type thought is something that I can see transpiring here, just because, once again, Trump has a large following, and at this current moment, we don't know how this might play out. Did you get a hold of Whitney Webb? So, Natural Mom, I did shoot out a text. I shot out a text. I followed her on Twitter, and then I shot an email. So I did attempt to reach out. I haven't heard back yet. So appreciate you for introducing that to me. So Poppy 3D, Maduro's not chosen by people. Hey, I believe that as well. He's chosen by Chavez, and if that Dominion software stuff is correct, and if it did originate out of Venezuela, then it was a no-brainer that some of the votes were changed down the line, and so he was reinstated by Chavez and preferred, and so yeah, no doubt. But yet, as of now, because he's not playing ball with the U.S., Juan Guaido is supposed to be his successor, but that's not happening. So anyway, it goes corruption on top of corruption, and the same thing is definitely happening here, and it's possible to carry on in 2021. So, but yeah, man, that's all the articles I have. Let me stop ranting. Let me open the phone lines. Let's talk. Anything you guys want to talk about, this or anything else, I'm game for it. Let's do that. And let me open up the phone line so I can make sure I can hear from people. Let me get rid of this. I got all types of stuff on my phone. Anyway, so what else is happening out there? I came across, let me see here. I don't have the book here, but I'm reaching out to a gentleman who wrote a very interesting book that I just started this past weekend, entitled "The Demolition of the Empire" or something like that. And it's a collaboration with Charles Robinson and Jeff Berwick. So that should be a good book to further highlight some of the problems we're experiencing and their strategies moving forward. Let me see. It says the solo says Guan Guaido sounds like a name of a dude gives a clinic. Okay. Oh man. So let's talk. Anyone sees the video where they are saying there's another crisis on the horizon? Anyone see the video? JB, no, I did not. Let me know what you're referring to. What some things you saw in there? Adolf says, I see that as well. Two presidents. I hate to tell you what the Bible says. I doubt if people can handle it. But hey, Adolf, feel free to shine some light on it, my friend. Two presidents is just something that is not ideal, but because things are so chaotic, it just seems like something that could play out. So I wouldn't put it past those that are trying to further escalate the collapse, because outside of all the financial support that's coming to an end at the end of this year, we're going to start off 2021 with a reawakening of how bad the economy really is. On top of, we'll see how Congress is able to get their act together to actually put out more stimulus if they are able to or not. But then here's another article. Let me see if I can find this one. And so just as a sign as to how bad things really are, here's an article here talks about economists. We got, I think it's over 125 economists wrote an open letter, basically calling for more stimulus. They're like, at this current moment, more stimulus is needed. And of course, they're using it to say that families need it. But really, they're probably saying that, in order to keep this ship going, we're going to have to stimulate even more. And of course, every round of stimulus only further dilutes future savings. So good luck with that. But let's talk. Hello, caller. What's your name? We calling from?
Hey, Mike, it's Pete in Colorado.
Pete, how you doing, my man?
So who was the last emperor of Rome?
The last emperor of Rome. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say Caesar. I'm not sure which one.
No, it was somebody you never heard of. It's not worth remembering.
Oh, okay.
No, but in 4th century Rome, what difference did it make who was emperor? And there's like 4 in a year.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't matter much, but I'm sure that those citizens during that time frame, they were probably a little concerned, wouldn't you think, or no? Looking back in history books, no.
They were.
Huh?
No, of course they were concerned. But I mean, like right now, what difference does it make?
Outside, I mean, it's okay. So the only difference that it truly makes to me is to get an idea as to who is trying to, which person, which entity, which individual is trying to dictate and tell me what I can and can't do. So they all say the same thing. It's gonna be the same script coming out of somebody's mouth. But I just want to know who is trying to tell me what to do overall.
Do we elect a dictator?
Do we like the dictator?
I'm asking, do we elect a dictator?
No, not at all.
Do we have 3 branches of government?
Supposed to, but I'm not sure if that really counts or if that even matters anymore, because as of right now, it seems like anything takes place. They do whatever they want, regardless of the branches. So, and it's more the same on top of that.
Did Trump drain the swamp?
I don't think he did. I think the swamp got the best of him, or it was all a game, and he's right on time, and he's a part of the swamp. But no.
Okay, so are you to trust the plan?
I never trusted the plan. No.
Neither did I.
I was always skeptical, because I to me he was always a Trojan horse who was presented as a guy who was going to do great things, but he doesn't have a track record of being really for the people and a part of the people to really, get to have gotten my vote. But anyway.
What is a Republican?
It's one of the two parties, or one of the two primary parties that we've been conditioned to believe is the only thing that we're able to put in office to oversee this government.
Well, what's a conservative?
Conservative is supposed to be someone who's more constitutionally, more constitutional, less government, more freedom, more rights, and more constitutional based, and that nature.
Okay, so all these people who trust the plan have pinned all their last hopes on a lifelong Democrat who's made a career out of cheating on all of his wives, and has hung out with Hillary and the gang for decades.
Yeah. Yeah. Way to put.
So how did that go wrong?
Hey, it sounds like it went according to plan. Oh my goodness.
Plan, Mike.
Yeah. So way to summarize that up and put it in a better perspective. So it was all part of the initial plan. But here's a question: how there's still a good portion of people out there that, and talking about, they're able to find any type of thing or talk about the Nassar and Jasser is underway. Trump signed an executive order talking about education of 1776 and getting back to the concept. I mean, all that stuff. People are saying like the plan is on, like be patient, 30 more days. I'm like, so I'm watching videos of people out here, extremely excited and confident that in 30 more days it's going to be great. Just be patient, trust the plan, go golfing like the president. He's relaxed.
Well, I haven't heard any of that nonsense in years. I listened to it like right at the beginning, but it was clearly a joke.
Yeah.
But the only thing is the education.
Mm-hmm.
The communists lost.
Yeah.
50 years ago.
Yeah.
And all those hippies, summer of love people, they went into education.
Yeah.
They dominated it for 50 years.
Uh-huh.
And the bottom line is they won.
Yeah.
We're the resistance now.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's how it is moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also those two Houses seats, those two Senate seats in Georgia,
mm-hmm.
with the entire nation's attention on it, with mail-in voting,
mm-hmm.
it's pretty easy to bring in the votes you need to split the 55-45 difference.
Yeah.
If your vote made any difference, it would be illegal.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. Well, hey, Pete, man, appreciate your call. Let me get a couple more calls in, but it's always good to hear your voice, though, my friend. I want to hog the mic up. I appreciate you.
You bet.
All right, be good. Hello, caller. Where are you calling from?
Frank, calling from Brisbane, Australia.
Frank from Brisbane, Australia. My man from the down under. What is going on? How you doing down there, my friend?
Mike, you're doing well, mate. Thanks for all you do. Been listening to you for a while now. Enjoy your work.
Appreciate you. Give me give me the rundown on Australia, man. Like, I know it's probably different parts, but is it give me some good and bad if any.
No masks in Brisbane. Everybody's pretty laid back up here, and not really all the propagandas everywhere you go. The QR check-ins and the social distancing things on the floor, but everyone's pretty laid back about it in Queensland. But I hear further south in the country, it's pretty bad in Adelaide and Melbourne from a freedom and liberty point of view. Yeah.
Now, I know that you guys had some legislation that was trying to be rushed through on the cashless society type of thing. They try to restrict your cash and all types of things. It's supposed to be up in, I think, the parliament or something like that. It was, questionable in nature. Are you in tune with all that stuff?
I'm not sure if it's been passed, something about no private or no transaction can be paid with cash if it's over 10,000. It has to be done chronically. I'm not sure if that's through or not yet, Mike.
Yeah, interesting. So that is so overall, like, I know the housing bubble is supposed to be very extreme there and stuff like that. Are you seeing signs of the economy ultimately slowing down? Is there high employment there? A lot of shutdowns in certain areas, or what?
Yeah, I'd imagine it's just like everywhere in the world, every country. I'm sure they have a few cities where they focus on shutting people down and locking them in more so than others. As, I don't know, predictive programming, whatever you want to call it. I'm just fortunate to be in a part of Australia that hasn't had that yet. But it seems, around this world that we live in, it's there seems to be an effort to change the way you and I live.
Yeah, clearly. So it's interesting to hear that there's still segments of the country that hasn't adopted the mainstream narrative of shut down, don't leave your house, and don't breathe, and don't. So that's interesting how that hasn't taken over the entire country. Because I would assume like here in the U.S., some states are more lenient, but every country here has their own regulations and restrictions of some kind that people don't really agree with. So.
Yeah, sure. Masks have not been mandated in Brisbane since the beginning of this. I've not worn a mask and haven't been forced to wear a mask anywhere I went. Sure, at the beginning when this all kicked off, everyone was a little bit masked up for the first few weeks there, but that all died off, at least in Brisbane, and it's probably 10% of the population wearing masks here versus 90% just going about their business.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you checking in from down under, my friend. Definitely, keep us up to date and feel free to call in at any time and keep us up to date. I'm curious to hear about what's happening in your neck of the woods.
Before I sign off, Mike, if you don't mind, I was just laughing about the Biden transition and his appointed secretary of Janet Yellen. You look at Steve Mnuchin and Janet Yellen and Skull and Bonesman, just reminds me of the John Kerry, George Bush selection back in the year 2000. Either way, I guess it's we can see who's running this thing now and where they take us. We're all along for the ride.
Yeah, hey, that is true, my man. That is true. Thank you for your thoughts, my friend. Be good.
Take care, Mike. You too.
We'll do. All right. Yeah, man. Good stuff. Good to hear from fellow community members down in Australia. So let's talk. Give me a call. What else is on your mind? Let me see here. It says anyone follow XRP. So I kind of guessed that cryptocurrency would definitely come up in the chat today, given that they're allowing it to run, or it's running because of the institutions and the adoption push and all that stuff might be just kicking in right now. But I have watched XRP do a little bit. And the cryptos are ultimately just getting started as far as where they're going. Low blood pressure, they call it cryptocurrency. Low blood pressure, man. You for the longest now, you've been, I guess, I would assume you would be labeled as anti-cryptocurrency, while all along watching, the price of certain coins, including Bitcoin, just continue to increase in value. And it amazes me how you haven't, I guess, bothered to, take $1 or $2 and just put it in it and watch it, continue to grow as well. And so I'm proud that you're able to hold out and stick to your guns, my friend, if that is the case. But who knows? You could be sitting on a large bag of coins and not telling nobody. Pull up Civic Alliance on your screen and tell me, who do you see? Civic Alliance. Okay, let me pull this up. Let me pull up this and see. Civic Alliance. Okay, so let me see. Is there a picture? Because I got Civic Alliance up here, but I don't. Let me see. So just this. So I think that's Solo. Let me know. S400. Let me know exactly what anything in particular, because I don't use Google. So, hello, caller. Which name are you calling from?
Yeah, Mike. Steve, FEMA Region 9.
Steve, FEMA Region 9. How you doing, my friend?
Good. Yeah, I figured I'd deliver you some at least half decent news from California about Governor Newsom.
Okay.
I guess some of the sheriff's departments. I don't know about up north here. I have to call my sheriff's department up here in my area. But I guess down south in Southern California, a lot of the sheriff's departments basically told Newsom they're not going to enforce this little lockdown that he's trying to do. I think a lot of the people are going to buck against this time too.
Yeah.
This little 10 o'clock curfew, etc. The sheriff's departments are saying they're not going to bother with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. They do not have enough manpower to actually enforce it, because I mean, the sheriff departments and most local law enforcement departments are extremely small and covering a large amount of territory. So, good luck with enforcing that anyway. So it'd been a waste of manpower in the first place.
Yeah, and they don't want to. Like I said, they don't want to do it anyway. They kind of laugh at Newsom, when it comes to stuff like that, especially given that he's getting caught out everywhere, having parties, doing everything else himself. So, who knows what's going on with that guy? Yeah. But anyway, hey, have you heard anything about? I forgot where I saw it, but it had something to do with Trump was talking about striking Iran, and I guess some of the military guys told him don't do it.
No, I did
right
not.
now.
No.
Yeah, I forgot where it was, where I saw that. If I find it out, I'll shoot it to you. But apparently he was talking about hitting Iran, and I guess he had to be talked down by some of the military guys, and they said don't do that right now.
Yeah. So I did find an article.
So it could spread.
Yeah, so I typed in Trump, whatever, and so it says Trump explored military strike on Iran. Report says so. It's this was over the weekend, so I didn't dive into it yet. But I mean, it looks like that was something that we were told it was a possibility. So, yeah, but I mean, if Trump does it,
I forgot where I saw it, but
no. So,
but I'm not gonna keep going.
Okay,
I'm not gonna keep going here.
Appreciate you, my man.
Enjoy the day and have a good Thanksgiving, bro.
You as well, my friend. Thanks for calling in.
Take care.
Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, Mike? It's Miles from NY.
Miles from NY. How you doing, my friend? What's going on with you? Give me some good news out of NY. Anything?
Oh, yeah, we good, man. Just packing it away, man. Food prices is going crazy. I had to learn how to pressure can this week.
Yeah.
Go, man. But hey, you know what? I wanted to get your opinion, man, because I've really just been sitting back and doing some thinking about the stimulus, man. And
okay.
For some reason, I don't think there's going to be another stimulus. I don't think there's going to be any more moratoriums.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking at it, I don't think it fits. It doesn't fit their agenda anymore,
mm-hmm.
and it's not beneficial for them to do it. I don't even think they're going to prop the market up anymore. Reason being, I'm saying that is because we're going to have that fourth wave, fourth industrial revolution. What better way to get the people in line than to let the markets collapse, right?
Mm-hmm.
People lose everything. And when they lose everything, they become desperate. They start selling off their assets.
Yeah.
They start becoming very compliant, doing everything that they're told to do,
Yeah.
And you induce a little bit of hunger in that, and you just remove the fight out of a lot of people. You're going to have some people that may rebel at certain points and pockets, but when your kids are starving, or you're not in good health, a lot of Americans, they're overweight, things like that, not even just Americans, they're just not in good condition, They're more likely just to sell off their goods and everything they got and just take whatever the government throws their way,
Yeah.
And it'd be much easier for them to implement their plans if we don't have stimulus. I think it will be some sort of funding, but I think it's going to go to the top. It's not going to go into the hands of the common man like how we did last time. It's going to be them funding certain corporations and technology sectors and things like that do their bidding, and further their work for them. I think that's what we're going to see. I don't think we're going to see like $1,200 checks in the hands of the common person because that gives the common person more leeway, more time, more ability to do things. Right now, they're on it where they just, if they're telling us about it, it's because they feel so confident that anything that we do, they feel as though can't stop them from their plan. Yeah. And I think that they're going to roll it out like that. It's going to begin with, us starving. And I was really serious though, because I bought a turkey. It's just good. So I bought a turkey last week just because I seen it. And it was about $50 a turkey, right? I went back the other day because I said, let me get another one. It was $100.
Hold on. You paid $50 for a turkey and then it was $100 the next week.
It was $100 the next week, man. It was $100 the next week. I looked at the thing. I picked it up. I said, this can't be right. I looked at a couple more. It was $100. Actually, it was $98, And I'm looking at the turkey that I got. I got two of that for the same price, and everything just jumped up. Even hot dogs. Like my kids like hot dogs. They're home from school. Low blood pressure. I got 6 kids, and I got 20 years in already. But yeah, man, these hot dogs were like $8. I looked at them now. They $12.99. And I'm just like.
Inflation, boy, that's and the Fed can't find inflation. They just calculating and looking in the wrong places. Oh my goodness.
I'm telling you, man. I'm saying, but I'd just like to get your opinion on that because I really don't think that it fits their narrative anymore. Yeah. That's why they've been taking so long and going back and forth with the stimulus. It's to wean you off. Yeah. So as though you're less likely to get fired up at them. They know what you need. Why would they take that long getting it to you? Because they don't want to.
Yeah. And I'll ask this. So why? So in regards to that being a possibility of them like literally putting off, that second stimulus supposedly until dire straits is definitely doable. And even if they were to do a second stimulus now, most people are so far behind with everything that they've already picked and choose what they're going to repay and what they're not going to repay. So there's already going to be a tidal wave of people losing things. And you got to remember, majority of Americans don't truly own anything. Everything has been financed. So they're going to lose things, but they don't really own anything already to even be able to really sell. So outside of their portfolios and equities, bonds, or whatever your retirement stuff that they've already dipped into, I'm sure a good portion of people probably already dipped into it because of the CARES Act. So I believe they gave people access to their funds through the CARES Act so people could start draining it out, making things a lot more dire even sooner. So even if they were to give another 1,200 or so, people are so far behind and it won't really do much for them anyway. So they can give another second or third round. Hell, it's not gonna sustain you in this current environment, especially like, for example, in New York with the prices you giving me, that's it's not gonna go far. You might get a week off that depending on what you're buying, but you're not gonna get caught up on none of your past bills. So yeah, so they could roll one out. It won't matter though, in my opinion.
And winter's coming, man. Winter's coming. But hey, stay up, Mike. I know some
appreciate you
going in there.
Appreciate you, my man. Good to hear from you. Yeah, man. Good stuff. Great call. Good to hear from the people out in NYC. What else we got here? We've been in civil war since 2016. Yeah, civil war, it's been ramping up. Like the whole idea of divide and conquer, they've been very good at that. And of course, this past summer, it's unfortunate that they use race to stir up people's emotions. Because now I'm watching, I think it was last night, or was that last night? I think it was on ESPN today. I heard about the first all-black football refereeing team or something like that. I'm thinking who's watching sports like that? Nobody really cares about that. So, and then I'm gonna do a video about a bank. It's called Greenwood Bank, and it's a bank by some entrepreneurs. Primarily a rapper, a hip hop artist, and they're talking about banking black now. Putting your money back into black banks and circulate. And I'm thinking, I'm looking into it, I'm like, you guys aren't even a bank. You know what I'm saying? You're just an app. So just they're using race now big time. So everything I'm looking on the TV screen is they're trying to incorporate more people of color and Latinos and more ladies into all types. I'm like, man, just let it go, man. But once again, it gives people the illusion that change is underway. They meaning politicians and, the white supremacists, they're starting to acknowledge the fact that, people have been suppressed and held down. And now, now's our time to get, higher paying this and that. I'm thinking dude, they're just playing you, man. System's crumbling. As the system crumble, they're going to give more of everything to appease anybody just to keep you distracted. So Rolf says transgender they need more of. No doubt. Biden will definitely appoint something of that magnitude into his cabinet. I'll be willing to say. Hello, Carlos. Where are you calling from?
What's going on? This is Dwayne. Mike, what's going on?
Dwayne, I'm doing good, my man. What's in your mind tonight?
Not much. You're talking about the swamp, huh?
It's the swamp, man. The swamp is, it always remains. And so we were told that one was going to drain the swamp. But yeah, I'm assuming people by now, if they had any hope that he was draining it, they probably realize that he's probably more of it at this point.
Yeah, man, you can't get mad at him, Mike. Though, come on, man. He just don't have it in him. He cut his deal. I believe he just cut his deal.
Mm-hmm.
He's a deal maker. He postured like he was going through a head fake, like he was going to do it. Gave him enough time to cut his deal, and he established his family as a political family. Maybe Don Trump Jr. or Ivanka run in 2024 or 2028.
Yeah,
he established his family, cut his deal.
Yeah.
He don't have it in him. You can't expect him to be a John F. Kennedy. You can't expect him to be a Malcolm X.
Yeah.
He just don't have that moral fiber to do that. And it was wishful thinking that he was, like he was going. I feel sorry for that attorney Sidney Powell that he threw her under the bus like that, because she really was compassionate about what she was doing and she really was sure of herself. I would like to see what she was going to bring up, but it looks like they'll probably bury that and move on. And we know what really. Now I was on the fence about what really happened. Now I think I have a better idea what happened.
Yeah. So once again, more of the same. Everything remained the same, my friend.
Yeah, so people don't be mad at Donald Trump. I mean, he just don't have it in him like that. I mean, you just can't expect to hear he's a Donald. You can't expect him to be who he is. You can't expect him to be a John F. Kennedy.
Yeah.
Nobody, or Martin Luther King. Those people are rare and few.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
very true, man. Hey, appreciate you, my man. Good to hear from your voice.
No problem.
Yep.
Same here. Take it easy. Yep. Bye-bye.
Yeah, man. Good stuff. Yeah. Don't feel bad for him. Are you buying no, who's that? RTD. No, I will not. Yeah. So me personally, man, I personally, as I've always mentioned before, when it comes to the old financial products, I personally I'm not a trader. I don't gamble. I don't get in and get out. I just stick to what I do know, and that's to wait. And on top of that, cash flow to get more weight. So I just keep it at that. And of course, I do dip and dabble with my cryptos because that's something that is being utilized as a backdoor out of this system. So it's definitely something that a lot of people in the top tier of CEOs, executives, you name it, they're taking advantage of it. So I'm not, foolish to be left behind in that regard there. Says Biden called for a dark winter twice on record. Yes. Now, what exactly does a dark winter refer to? Is it, an escalation of this second wave that we're experiencing, or is there something else in the form of a false flag event that could be coming? So one of the things I was expecting was if this Trump, whole fight to reveal the fraud and the ballots and the software, all that stuff, if that stuff was real and it was starting to gain traction, and if it's still, as of right now, Trump is presenting that he's fighting. So there might be a chance where something actually goes to the Supreme Court. I wouldn't be surprised if the people he placed in there, those that are labeled as conservatives, low-key sell him out as well, because I would imagine everybody that sits in the Supreme Court, they have dirt on them. So not many people will probably be willing to ruin their entire lives, careers, and their families' lives to help Trump out. So I'm not really, holding my breath on that as well. But we will see. I was just going to stick with the fact that right now the swamp has always been in play. We were given an illusion of choice or the idea that there was two different people out there, but really they're all taking us to the same spot until I see otherwise. Natural Mama says, Mike, you really think crypto is a back way out of the system? Don't you think we're being set up to buy crypto away by the government elites? Okay, so I believe that the cryptocurrency blockchain space was positioned here for this exact same moment. It's a way to transition a lot of the wealth out of the old system into the new. And then once it's halfway through, all the way through, then the governmental powers that be will come and try to regulate tax, or there's going to be some vulnerabilities in some of those blockchains, which will ruin confidence. But the cryptocurrency space was designed to sell us on the idea of going digital. And so I do believe it has the benefit of being able to position those who probably were aware of it earlier as this transition occurs, as this wealth transfer occurs, even into the metals as well, that there'll be people that will be very excited that they were aware of it. Now, the question will be, like I always say, is that if you are a beneficiary of all these gains, what can you do with them? What will you be able to do with them in the context of actually enjoying your life, unless you participate in this system they're rolling out? So it's that give or take. If you're going to take from it, you're going to have to also give up something on the back end. So, but once again, a lot of people use the crypto space to be able to acquire more metal. So it's that depends on how you leverage and how you use it. But I believe it's a part of a long-term game to get us all into that system where we're all utilizing apps for everything we do. And of course, by that time, I don't think governments will allow anything labeled as decentralized to actually flourish when it comes time to do those central bank digital currencies, which probably will be coming in 2021. What else we got here? Let me see. Saw a couple more questions here. Now, all war bucks. I saw you mention something about Nassar. What are your thoughts on that? Because I've came across a lot of people who think we're right in play and everything is right on course to roll out officially in January of next year. So I'm curious to get your thoughts on that. Crypto is a fourth industrial revolution currency. I don't doubt it, Robert. I don't doubt it at all. I hate fiat cryptos, but they are paying for more metals. So a lot of people got different game plans as to how they further their weight accumulation. What else we got here? Trump was Tarzan in the swamp. Oh man, what else we got here? Dark Winter, what's your favorite caliber? What's my favorite caliber? I'm a 9mm type of guy. Mossberg. Man, I wanted, I went shopping for them things and them boys were sold out. There was no voter fraud. Donald Trump lost the election. The black people came out and voted this way. Time, Wayne County, Michigan. Okay. So once again, everybody thinks differently. I mean, there's too much things. There's too many things to question to just lay it to the side as if like everything's fine. There was no voter fraud. And on top of that, the voter system itself, I would be willing to guess and bet more than likely that there was definitely some activity with those votes, just because anybody who's watching the election throughout that process, it was pretty clear that Donald Trump was winning in a lot of those states. All of a sudden had those issues, and then everything stopped, and the next day Biden was the winner of those states supposedly. So that stuff is no coincidence, man. So I look at that as some type of malfunction / fraud, because that's what those that are trying to keep this narrative going would be willing to do. Says vaccine in 3 weeks. Yeah. So once again, I think they're supposed to be delivered here in Michigan. I got word from a pretty credible source that the hospitals are already set to get them, even though the FDA hasn't even approved them yet. So the question is, what's the likelihood of the FDA's not approving it? It's a 0.0% chance that the FDA would not approve any of those vaccines, because all of them are already created. They've been sitting in warehouses for months, if not some years already, waiting for this moment, because I'm sure everybody would be willing to bet that these vaccines were not just created last week when they so-called came out with this vaccine crap. This stuff is all a part of the plan, man. Gold is money. Real money has no yield. I'm waiting until gold resets to its intrinsic value. Yeah, good luck with that one. Gold is going through the roof, and basically papers is going to go through the floor. Anyway, we'll take this last call, then we will get ready to dial back. It's always good to connect. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Mike, Tony from Oakland. How you doing,
TB,
brother?
How you doing, man? I'm doing good. What's the name out tonight?
Shoot, the vaccine. they can't do 330 million people in a year. They can't even get 3 million out. So what's everybody worried about?
So that's a very good point. But here's the thing: what most people are not considering is the fact that they will not be able to so-called vaccinate everybody in a year, and then majority of the people will not do it anyway. So it's going to be an ongoing event every year, and the vaccine is only good for a year. So it's going to be similar to the flu shot, but it plays into their hands because it gives them something to continue to preach about for the next 5, 6, 7 years, because they'll never be able to get everybody on board until they try to mandate something. You know what I'm saying?
My body, my choice. That's the way people are looking at it.
Yeah.
And, how long is it going to take to vaccinate 330 million? It's going to take forever. The virus ain't going nowhere. They're just going to use it to get your mind situated for change.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it's doing to people, because how many people are out there spending that money? Ain't nobody got none.
Right.
So I'm starting to say, and the mind, we're creatures of habit.
Yeah.
If you teach a monkey to push the button, the red button every time, and feed him something when he do, then the monkey's going to continue to push the red button.
Very true.
When you don't feed.
Very true, man. So, yeah, but here's the thing. Along with that continuous push for vaccinations, they're going to start demonizing those people who are anti-vaxxers. Like I put an article right here talking about, let me see, where is it at? About how the mainstream media, all the news sources and information tools we use will be promoting ads. So Facebook is going to go on an ad campaign, encouraging everybody. So we're going to get all types of ads and everything we do moving forward about the benefits, and all that misinformation is true misinformation, but it's going to be constantly fed to everybody. And then eventually it's going to come to one of those things where a part of your life will be hindered if you don't actually have, the vaccine paperwork or whatever it might be. So, yeah.
But it's so obvious now.
Yeah.
That's only for the people that are asleep. It's
Yeah.
so obvious now. And the more they continue down that road that you're talking, more and more people are going to wake up and see that, it's just like the flu, just like the flu season. They how many vaccines? Oh, it stops 8. Oh, it stops 3. Oh, and everybody still got the flu.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where nobody was taking the flu shot, and they was giving it away for free.
Yeah, and just the fact these vaccines are free, like, just show up. And I meant to show last week that the locations where they're going to have it at, and on that list is military locations. So they might be like Operation Warp Speed is bringing them out into the public. They're going to be setting up like little kiosks, little booths on corners where they're going to be able to go there. And imagine if people aren't going down there, they're going to start going out to people. You know what I'm saying? Because a part of that Tiberius software is that they know who, where, and what areas is heavily populated and who has, what areas has not. And so, yeah, that whole system that's set up is designed to further push this stuff further, man. So
really, who's I thought the healthcare workers were first. What are we setting up on the corner for?
Oh, I'm saying, but Operation Warp Speed is supposed to be the logistical way that they're going to get it out there. But a part of this stuff here, they got UPS, FedEx, they got all these other postal services and logistic companies getting it out as well to different entities. So the question would be, why would military need to get it out at all if they can use those same entities, unless they just wanted to get military out in the streets for the situation to establish a presence in this war on cases. So that as time move forward, they already got infrastructure set up to where they can start, further clamping down and actually selling the military people into the streets. You know what I'm saying? Somehow, some way, or whatever. That's just my little speculation, man.
Right, and I would agree with you, but there's 330 million people as opposed to 100 and something. Then you bring in the UN, there's another 150. It still ain't enough.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to mention is there's always been fraud in the election, and I mentioned this before this one even came up. Back in 1968, and it's always been, for some odd reason, Pennsylvania that's always had the fraud. In 1968, Dick Gregory took 9 million votes in Pennsylvania, and they named him, I think that was the Hoover days, and they named him president of the United States. And one of the announcers came on and said, "Oh, we made a mistake. Stop the count. Stop the count. We made a mistake. Gave 9 million to Dick Gregory, and it was a glitch in the machine." And not only that, fast forward to 2016, Trump told you that there was something wrong with the election and never told you what was wrong with the election. Is it because he was wanting to steal it this time? They in 2016 in Virginia, you can look this up, in Virginia, they did a vote by phone with the military, and Trump even mentioned it when he won. He's like, "Yeah, we did a vote by phone and it came out all right and everything was good." Why didn't they implement that?
I don't know. Everybody could have got a text message, my friend. Every voter could have been registered, certified, and received a text message just a yes or nay, or just A, B, C, D, or they could have done that if they wanted to. But yeah, we'll see, man. But yeah, man, Tony, man, I appreciate you, man.
We good. We'll let them play their game. We're gonna play ours, like you say.
All right, my man. Be good. Good to hear your voice, my friend.
Head up.
Yeah, be good.
Later.
Yeah, man. Good stuff. All right, people. We about to get ready to dial back. It's always good to connect and kick it with people. So I see a couple people in the chat, mentioning about Trump. I think it was who was that joined us, says something about Trump. Be patient, or says I know Biden went out. So Nate Hand Rich, how you doing, my friend? Thanks for tuning in. I saw your comment about trusting Trump or be patient, or Trump's gonna win. So yeah. So once again, if he was able to pull a rabbit out the hat and actually, continue on in the White House, and we actually see some of those fulfillments of the draining the swamp and some, removing the Fed and cutting, because remember, he's supposed to be cutting all types of taxes. And I'm assuming that's going to definitely disrupt the Federal Reserve and Treasuries, because, revenue stream, because as of now, they ain't got no revenue anyway. So it'd be great if Trump was to remain, because all taxes and all the Federal Reserve stuff is going to have to be dealt with in a favorable way for the people. So, but we will see. But anyway, people, it has been great hanging out. As always, hope to be back tomorrow, Lord willing. Be blessed, stay prayed up, and we're gonna stay prayerful, man. Keep moving and plugging along and enjoying the life that we do have while we still got it. Anyway, people, if you enjoy this back and forth, hit that thumbs up button, show your support. And as always, all the free information, interviews, you name it, all beneath this video here. And I will see you guys later. Peace. Hey there, sorry for this interruption, but I wanted to bring something to your attention. If you've been enjoying this live stream, why don't you partner with me and be a support to the channel via Patreon membership for just a minimum of $5 a month. All you have to do is scroll down beneath this video here, click the Patreon link, then consider donating as little as $5 a month towards the channel. A little bit of crumbs can go a long way, and I appreciate your support. Now, let's get back to this live stream.